Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Urban Update. I'm Byron Barnett. On the show this morning, an organization dedicated to funding anti-racist grassroots movements with up to $10,000 in grant money. Also on the show, the author of a new book focusing on inner-city youth, and a bit later, providing students with the skills they need to become the first in their families to graduate from college. But up first, joining us is the Commissioner of Higher Education for the Commonwealth, Carlos Santiago, sharing details of a new report about the degree gap, a warning of a growing shortage of college graduates in Massachusetts and what this shortage could mean for the future economic growth of our state. Now, while it's true that companies like GE are choosing to locate in Boston, in large part because of the proximity to high-skilled talent, the degree gap suggests that by 2022, the rate at which young residents of the state earn college degrees will pivot from growth to decline unless we change course. And if we don't act, it could spell trouble for the Massachusetts economy. So let's get into this with Commissioner Santiago. Welcome to Urban Update. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, Massachusetts, as everyone knows, is known for its colleges and universities. Boston has been nicknamed the quote-unquote Athens of America. So why are we facing a shortage of college degrees?
Well, it seems ironic, but in reality, we're being buffeted by a few demographic forces that are creating some real challenges for us. On the one hand, we have an aging population. Massachusetts is the most educated state in the union, based on the number of degree holders that it has. Over 50% of our population has a college degree, a post-secondary degree, which is great. But at the same time, over 20% of our labor force is now at an age that in the next 10 years they're going to be retiring, and it's the most educated component of our labor force as well. So we're facing that challenge, and then coupled with that, what we've seen the last 2 years is a decline in the growth of college-going students from Massachusetts. Just the demography, there are fewer of them. In that pipeline, and we know that's going to continue for another 8 years at least. So these two forces are really creating pressure on Massachusetts' ability, with all its universities, it seems ironic, but with its ability to meet the needs of the economy, which is a knowledge-based economy.
Wow. Now you're focused on we're talking about the state's public colleges and universities, yes. 29 campuses in all. Now you say these campuses educate more than half the state's undergraduates?
That's true.
Now, are too few of these students graduating?
Well, graduation rates is a problem. I mean, we do need to improve our graduation and success of students. There's no doubt about that. We've seen some improvements. 8 of our 24 campuses, or of our 29 campuses, showed some improvements based on the metric that we were looking at, but we need more of them to really graduate more students in greater numbers. Mm-hmm.
Now, the public campuses educate 79% of all Latino undergrads, yes, and 72% of African American undergrads. Yet less than a third of these students earn college degrees. Yeah. What about that?
Well, it's an opportunity for us to bring in new populations because they are growing. We need to bring students that have been historically underserved by education in general. We need to bring them into larger numbers, and we need to have them succeed.
And what about the strategies for making that happen?
Yeah. Well, we know, ironically, we know what works. And for students that, especially first-generation students that have little exposure to college life, that may not understand what a FAFSA form or how admissions work or how life on college occurs, we need to provide the basic wraparound services, and they need to start earlier. They really need to start in K through 12.
Now, your report points out some of the campus programs that educate students for a lot of these high-demand jobs, some nursing, computer science. Why not expand these programs where there's such a strong demand for employees? Because I believe you were saying that some of these jobs, there are more jobs than there are graduates coming out of school.
Absolutely. In computer science in particular, for every computer science graduate, there's 17 jobs in the Massachusetts economy waiting for them. So we do have these kinds of shortages. The limitation often, whether it's nursing or computer science or IT or healthcare, can be in terms of facilities. For For nurses, for example, you need to have placement locations for them. We're finding shortages of the experienced faculty to teach them and experienced PhD faculty. So there are challenges all around. It's not that there's a lack of people lining up for these slots at the institutions. It's just getting very, very competitive to get in.
Just to wrap things up, I guess where do we go with this? What is your goal? Where do you want to be in a few years?
Well, we do have to improve across the board over time, and we've seen a lot of programs working on our campuses working well. We need to scale it up, and in many respects, what I believe that Massachusetts, the Commonwealth, needs to do to sustain that future in a high-tech economy is that our public institutions have to operate as a system and work together. Okay,
and we'll leave it right there. Carlos Santiago, Commissioner of Higher Education for Massachusetts, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for enlightening us on this real serious matter coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, providing Latino and Black students from Boston Public Schools with a passport to college. All the specifics right here after the break.